All right, pages 306 and 307, chapter 5, section 4, number 13. The problem is 22 is greater than or equal to 4m minus 2, or 5 minus 3m is less than or equal to negative 3. That is the problem that is given. So we just go through and solve. When we add 2 to the first one here, when we add 2 to the both sides, you're going to get 24 is greater than or equal to 4m. Divide both sides by 4. 6 is greater than or equal to m. On the next problem, or the next part, and again, remember this is an or, we subtract 5, so it's a negative 3m less than or equal to negative 8. And then when I divide by negative 3, remember my inequality reverses. Subtract 5, I get a negative 3. I hope I copied the problem right. M is greater than or equal to 8/3. That does not seem right. And it isn't right because it's supposed to be less than or equal to 13. So when I subtract 5, that's a negative 13. When I subtract 5, I get a negative 18. And then when I divide by negative 3, I get a positive 6. Again, the inequality is flipped because I divide by negative 3. So in this problem, number 13, it is where m is less than or equal to 6 and m is greater than or equal to 6. So if I did my graph at 6, I'm going to have arrows there, arrows there. So what is that really? That's R, all real numbers would be the solution, all real numbers. Number 17, if you read the whole question, I just put the snippet up here. It says 2 consecutive odd numbers roughly between 8 and 24. One of those is strictly less than or greater than. Anyways, consecutive odd numbers, well, there's one odd number. Here's the second odd number. And it has to be greater than 8 and less than 24. Pretty sure that one's an equal sign, less than or equal to. So now I just solve it. Rewriting 8 less than or equal to 2n plus 2 less than 24. When I subtract 2, remember I have to subtract 2 from all 3 parts. So I get 6 is less than or equal to 2n less than, whoops, that's just less than, I believe, less than 22. And then I divide everything by 2. And remember, I have to divide everything by 2. I get 3 is less than or equal to n, which is less than 11. Now, in the problem, it asks you, though, what consecutive odd numbers? Well, numbers that are between 3 and 11, but it can be 3. So 3 plus 5, remember, it had to be less than or equal to 8. So 3 plus 5 is less than or equal to 8, and then 5 plus 7, and then 9 plus 11. But I can't go to the next one because then it gives me exactly 24, but I need it to be strictly less than 24. So these are your combinations. Now, if you just wrote this part as your answer, that's fine. You didn't need the other part. Here we have a compound inequality, but notice I have a letter here, I have a letter here, a letter here. So what I basically have to do is split this into 2 problems. So I'm going to go negative 2a plus 3 is greater than or equal to 6a minus 1, because that's one scenario. And then the other scenario, and this is an and, it has to be 6a minus 1 is less than 3a minus 10. Now, as you notice right above my 3a, I have 9a, because in my book it's 9a, and the answer in my back of the book is empty set, and I believe in your book, the back, the answer is empty set. So, but the book problem, in your book, it should have 3a. So it's going to give a different result than empty set. Empty set would be no solution. So continuing on, I'm going to move all my letters to the left side, so I get rid of my letters on the right side. So I'm going to subtract 6a, so that gives me a negative 8a plus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 1. Subtract 3 on both sides. Negative 8a is greater than or equal to a negative 4. Divide by a negative 8, and I get a is less than or equal to, because I'm dividing by a negative, and that would be 1/2. Again, remember this is an AND problem. The value needs to be between. It needs to be between here, and because it has to be between there, it's an AND. Okay, so continuing, solving here, I'm going to subtract 3. So I get 3a minus 1 is less than a negative 10. Add 1, 3a is less than a negative 9. Divide by 3, a is less than a negative 3. Somehow a mistake here again. Just give me a second. No mistake. I was thinking of when the problem was 9a. Sorry. So the answer is empty set. The actual answer is empty set, and that is because at a, we are less than or equal to 1/2, and a is less than, hang on here a second. All right, so again, in my textbook it has less than. In your textbook, it has greater than. So all of these need to be greater than, and that's where the error is at, because in your textbook, this is greater than. So there we go. All right, so now what I have is a line at negative 3. It's an open circle going to the right, and over here at 1/2, it is a closed circle going to the left, so I end up with what is between those two. So I end up with, in set notation, it would be negative 3 less than a less than or equal to 1/2. That would be the notation, and then that would be the graph. Whew, finally made it through that one. All right. The next problem. In the problem, you read the problem, it basically says that snakes like it when it's between 75 and 90 degrees. So how do you write the inequality? Well, the inequality would be 75 is less than or equal to x, whatever the variable is here, less than or equal to 90. I don't have the book in front of me, but I believe on this problem it is supposed to be less than or equal to, snakes like it when it's 75 to 90 degrees. So snakes like it when it's 75 to 90, or if it says snakes like it between, if it's between 75 and 90, then it's strictly less than and greater than, not equal to. Number 35, x is less than 23 and x is greater than 33. That's when it's bad. I believe it was some animal. Anyways, it's bad. Also, it's degrees Celsius here in this problem, I believe. So write an inequality of when it flips the question on you. Write an inequality when it is a good for this particular animal, and that means if it's bad when x is less than 23, that means it's good when x is greater than or equal to 23. If it's bad when x is greater than 33, that means it's good when x is less than or equal to 33. So you end up with the 23 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 33. Now, normally we don't go from a strictly less than to less than or equal to greater than or equal to situation, but it's in the problem, it's a word problem, it's a real life problem. So in this case, less than 23 is bad, and that means it can be 23. And likewise for the 33. All right, I hope this helps. If not, let me know.